Hi, today we are going to talk about the Mothman, a creature that terrorized West Virginia in the 60s. The Mothman is best known for his alleged involvement in the collapse of the Silver Bridge, but he's connected to other strange events. He's described as a tall humanoid creature with gray skin, red glowing eyes, and bat-like wings. The Mothman was seen for the first time in 1961. A lady who was driving a car with her dad spotted a man walking on the side of the road. Nothing weird there, right? Except the man spread his wings and flew away. The lady didn't tell anyone about her experience because she was afraid that no one would believe her. Few years later, in 1965, a kid who was hanging out near the Ohio River spotted a Mothman-like creature. He believed that he saw an angel, and he was probably the only one who described the Mothman so nicely. Sometime later, a lady who also lived near the Ohio River spotted a Mothman on her yard. She described him as a huge butterfly. Well, moths are butterflies, so she wasn't wrong. But everything started for real in September 1966. Firstly, there were reports about a person who was seen flying over the Mississippi River. Sometime later, in October, 5 gravediggers spotted a man who was sitting on the tree. Nothing weird there, right? Except the man spread his wings and flew over the gravediggers. That was the first encounter with Mothman that was published in the press. But that was just the start. The most famous sightings of Mothman happened on November 15. Firstly, a man named Newell Partridge, who lived in Salem, was watching TV at night in his home. Suddenly his TV turned off. Then it turned on back again, but it started broadcasting weird things. Newell claimed that on the screen he saw something that looked like fish bones. While this was happening, Newell's dog that was outside was barking like crazy. Newell decided to go out to see what's bothering his dog. He took his flashlight with him because it was dark. It was around 11 at night. He turned on his flashlight, and near his barn he saw 2 red glowing eyes. Later, Newell claimed that those eyes reminded him of bicycle headlights. He also claimed that those eyes didn't belong to any known animal. Newell was an avid hunter, and he had never seen eyes like that before. Newell wanted to come closer to this thing, but he couldn't. He felt paralyzed and he couldn't move. His dog ran towards this strange being and was never seen again. Newell heard his dog squeaking, and then the pet disappeared. Newell finally regained his composure, I guess, and he went back to his house to get some sleep, but that night he went to bed with his gun loaded. In the morning he went to the barn to investigate, but he didn't find his pet. He found his dog's footprints, and it seemed like the pet was running in circles and then disappeared. But this creature wasn't done for the night. While this was happening, Mothman appeared somewhere else. He appeared on the same night in a small town called Point Pleasant. Point Pleasant wasn't a big city, so everybody knew each other. There weren't many places to go to, so if someone wanted to hang out with their friends, they went to the TNT area. The TNT area was an abandoned TNT factory from World War II. On November 15, 4 people decided to go and hang out in this TNT area. It was Roger Scarberry, his wife Linda, and their friends Mary and Steve. They drove to this TNT area, and when they were exiting the car, they realized that something was off. They didn't know what it was, but they felt weird. They decided to stay there anyway, and they headed to the factory. When they were getting close to the gate, they saw 2 red glowing lights. It was weird because this factory was supposed to be abandoned, so who the hell turned on the lights? But then they saw that the lights were moving. moving towards them. As they were getting clearer and brighter, they realized that it wasn't lights. It was a pair of red, glowing eyes. These eyes weren't floating in the air, oh no. They were attached to a tall humanoid creature. That was too much, so they decided to go to the car and drove away. But the creature didn't want to let them go. It decided to follow them, but not on foot. It flew up. But it didn't flew up as a normal bird, oh no. It floated like a helicopter or an alien spaceship. Roger, who was driving, was speeding, but the creature kept up with them. They decided to go straight to the police. And now you think that's great because finally someone can arrest the Mothman, but it didn't happen. Mothman flew all the way to the police station, but when our group was exiting the car, the Mothman decided to fly somewhere else. He had more important things to do that night. Anyway, Roger, Linda, Mary, and Steve ran to the police station and told their story. Surprisingly, the police believed them. They sent a patrol car to the TNT area to investigate. They didn't find anything special though, but it doesn't mean that everything went smoothly. One policeman claimed that when he was near the TNT area, his radio started doing weird things. From the speakers, he heard something that sounded like a record being spun at high speed. And when he entered the TNT area, he saw shadows moving around the plant. Of course, later everyone wanted to check out if the Mothman is really in the TNT area. So everybody went there, and some were lucky, others were not. But Mothman wasn't done for the night. Oh no, not yet. He decided to visit other people that lived near the TNT area. This time he was seen by Marcella Bennett, her little daughter, and a friend of Marcella, Raymond Wemsley. Marcella and Raymond wanted to visit their friends Ralph and Virginia Thomas, but their friends weren't home. The children opened the door and they told Marcella and Raymond that their parents were at church. So Marcella and Raymond headed back to the car. But when they were getting back to the car, they saw a strange creature on the ground. The creature was laying, but when they were getting close, the creature started getting up. Marcella saw that it was a tall man with wings, and she was so scared that she dropped her baby. But the baby was fine, so don't worry. She picked her daughter up and they ran back to the house. They called the police, of course, and when they were doing that, the Mothman was hanging out on the porch and he was looking through the windows. But when the police arrived, the Mothman was gone. During November, more people saw the Mothman. He was seen by 2 firefighters and by few people that visited the TNT area. On November 26, Ruth Foster was the only one who saw the Mothman's face. She described it as small and funny, but she claimed that she didn't see any beak. Why did she mention that she didn't see any beak? Well, because a lot of people believed that others didn't see any Mothman but a strange bird. Then the Mothman started enjoying chasing people. He followed a young lady, 2 little girls, and a teenager who was driving a car. Then he got bored and he wasn't so active. He was seen few times, but it wasn't as spectacular as before. But there was a man who started writing down all encounters with the Mothman. His name was John Keel and he was a journalist and ufologist. He wrote a lot about paranormal stuff, like Men in Black, aliens, cattle mutilation, and poltergeists. So this John guy was collecting stuff about the Mothman, and people started reaching out to him and telling him their stories. Some claimed that after their meetings with Mothman, they started experience visions. For example, some of them said that they foresaw the assassination of the Pope and the assassination of Robert Kennedy. But the event that caught everyone's attention was the alleged prophecy regarding the collapse of the Silver Bridge. Mary, who was a friend of John and she was staying in Point Pleasant, called him and told him that she had a strange dream about the drowning people. She wasn't the only one because a lot of people claimed that they saw the same thing in their dreams. On December 15 in 1967, Silver Bridge located in Point Pleasant indeed collapsed. 46 people were dead on the scene and 2 bodies were never recovered. Few sightings of the Mothman were reported just before the collapse. Some believe that the Mothman tried to warn people, others believe that the Mothman caused the collapse. But the bridge didn't collapse due to supernatural reasons. There was a loose screw in one of the crucial parts of the bridge and it caused the collapse. Now let's move to the theories. Who or what is Mothman? Some believe that Mothman in reality is just a big bird. The most popular candidate is the Canadian crane. It's a huge bird with red dots on its head. These dots can easily be mistaken for red glowing eyes. This explanation was presented by Robert Smith from the Department of Biology, but other scientists don't agree with him. They argue that Canadian crane don't exist in West Virginia. It prefers colder environment. What's more, Roger and Mary, who had seen the Mothman, were shown a picture of the Canadian crane. They said that this bird looked nothing like the thing that they had seen that night. Another bird accused of being the Mothman was the barn owl. Barn owls are nocturnal, they fly quietly and they tend to live in abandoned spaces. But the barn owl theory cannot explain the humanoid features, the extreme speed, and the bat wings described by those who saw the Mothman. Other birds taken into consideration were snowy owl and turkey vulture. These birds are rare in West Virginia, but it's not impossible to see them there. Cryptozoologists like Mark Hall theorize that Mothman is just an unknown kind of bird. To confirm his theory, he stated that big owls called big heads or flying heads appear in the legends told by Native Americans who inhabited these areas. But let's go back for a moment to our friend John Keel because he had his own theories. He believed that the Mothman is a creature more advanced than humans and because of that it has the sixth sense. Keel believed that there is a connection between foreseeing the future and the Mothman appearances. Some believe that the Mothman is an alien or a creature from another dimension. If that's the truth, the creature simply fell into the wormhole and it appeared in Point Pleasant. According to those who believe in this theory, it explains why Mothman was seen often and then he disappeared. Other theories focus on the complexity of human mind. They state that the Mothman is just a case of mass hysteria, hallucinations, or pareidolia. Pareidolia is when your brain sees familiar patterns or shapes in random things, like seeing faces in clouds or animals in rock formations. So when the sightings of Mothman became popular, others saw this creature too because the brain simply put together what they saw and formed something that was similar to the descriptions they already heard or read. Others believe that the Mothman is an alien, a ghost, a demon, or a mutant. Particularly interesting is the association of the Mothman meetings, the collapse of the Silver Bridge, and other tragic events in the area with a curse that was cast on the area 2 centuries ago. Chief Cornstalk supposedly summoned a winged demon that heralded disasters. This curse is a story for another time, but what do you think? Is Mothman an alien, a demon, an unknown animal, or product of mass hysteria? Let me know in the comments. As always, thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Have a nice day. Bye!